Deer meat, commonly known as venison, represents one of the most direct relationships humans have ever had with animal protein. Long before farms, feedlots, and industrial supply chains, humans hunted deer for survival. Venison is not a trend. It is a foundational food in human history. Today, deer meat sits at an interesting intersection. It is both ancient and modern. It is associated with hunting traditions, but also increasingly valued for its nutritional profile. In a world questioning industrial meat systems, venison quietly re-enters the conversation as a clean, lean alternative. Deer are wild animals. They are not bred for rapid growth or fat accumulation. They live active lives, grazing, running, and surviving in natural ecosystems. That lifestyle directly shapes the meat they produce. From a biological perspective, deer meat is classified as red meat. However, nutritionally, it behaves very differently from beef or lamb. The most defining characteristic of venison is its extremely low fat content. Deer store very little intramuscular fat. There is almost no marbling. This makes venison dense, dark, and firm. It also means the meat is exceptionally lean. Flavor-wise, venison is rich and earthy. It has a deeper taste than beef but lacks the greasiness. The flavor reflects the animal's natural diet and activity level. Contrary to popular belief, properly handled venison is not overly gamey. Strong or unpleasant flavors usually come from poor field handling or overcooking, not from the meat itself. Texture is firm and fine-grained. Because of low fat, venison can become dry if overcooked. Precision matters. Respecting temperature and cooking method is essential. Now let's get into nutrition, because this is where venison quietly dominates. Venison is one of the leanest red meats available. It delivers high-quality protein with minimal fat and fewer calories than beef, pork, or lamb. Protein from venison contains all essential amino acids required by the human body. These amino acids support muscle growth, tissue repair, immune function, and enzyme production. For athletes, physically active individuals, and people focused on lean mass preservation, venison offers dense protein without excess energy. Fat content in venison is extremely low. This makes it ideal for calorie-controlled diets and heart-conscious eating patterns. Saturated fat levels are significantly lower than in most farmed red meats. This contributes to venison's favorable reputation in cardiovascular nutrition discussions. Venison is also rich in iron, particularly heme iron. This form of iron is highly bioavailable and supports oxygen transport in the blood and energy metabolism. Iron deficiency remains a global issue. Venison provides iron efficiently without the fat load of other red meats. Zinc content is another strength. Zinc supports immune function, hormone production, wound healing, and cellular repair. Venison also provides vitamin B12, which is essential for nervous system health and red blood cell formation. Deficiency can lead to fatigue and neurological issues. Other micronutrients include phosphorus and selenium. Phosphorus supports bone health and cellular structure. Selenium contributes to antioxidant defense. One overlooked advantage of venison is the absence of antibiotics and growth hormones when sourced from wild populations. This is not marketing, it is biology. Wild deer are not medicated. They are not fed engineered diets. Their meat reflects natural living conditions. Digestibility is strong when venison is cooked properly. Lean meat digests cleanly and provides satiety without heaviness. Now let's talk about cultural and historical context. Venison has been consumed across Europe, Asia, and the Americas for thousands of years. In many societies, deer hunting was central to survival and seasonal planning. In medieval Europe, venison was associated with nobility, not because it was luxurious, but because land ownership controlled access to hunting. In indigenous cultures, deer were respected animals. The entire animal was used. Meat, hide, bones, and organs all served purposes. That respect still exists in modern hunting ethics. Responsible hunters focus on clean kills, full utilization, and population balance. Venison today often comes from regulated hunting. In many regions, deer populations must be controlled to prevent ecological damage. In this context, consuming venison is part of ecosystem management. From a sustainability perspective, venison is complex but interesting. Wild venison does not require feed crops, water infrastructure, or industrial farming. The animal grows within its ecosystem. However, availability is limited. Venison cannot replace industrial meat systems at scale. It is supplemental, not dominant. Farm deer operations exist in some regions. These produce venison with more consistency but slightly different nutritional profiles due to diet and management. Compared to beef, venison has a much lower environmental footprint per animal. But scalability remains limited. From a health perspective, venison fits well into modern diets focused on protein quality and fat control. It is often recommended for people managing cholesterol, metabolic conditions, or weight. However, venison is not forgiving. Cooking mistakes ruin it quickly. This has contributed to its reputation as difficult. Overcooking venison dries it out. High heat without fat is a recipe for disappointment. Successful venison cooking uses quick searing for tender cuts or slow cooking for tougher ones. Moisture control is key. Because venison is lean, adding fat during cooking improves results. This can be done through oils, sauces, or pairing with fattier ingredients. Venison also benefits from marination. Acid and salt help tenderize and enhance flavor. In modern cuisine, venison appears in high-end restaurants, not because it is exotic, but because chefs respect its flavor. It also appears in home kitchens of hunters who understand its value. From a psychological standpoint, venison challenges modern food habits. It reminds people that meat once required effort, skill, and respect. This creates a different relationship with food. Waste becomes unacceptable. Overconsumption becomes unlikely. Venison also disrupts the assumption that red meat must be fatty or indulgent. It proves that red meat can be lean and functional. In fitness culture, venison is sometimes called the ultimate cutting meat. High protein, low fat, strong micronutrients. But it is not always practical due to availability and cost. Venison is not about convenience. It is about intention. That is why it will never dominate global markets. And that is fine. Its value lies in contrast. It shows what meat looks like without optimization for profit. It shows what happens when animals live active lives. So what's the real conclusion? Deer meat is one of the cleanest red meats humans can eat. It is lean, nutrient-dense, and biologically honest. It reflects movement, environment, and survival. Venison is not better than beef. It is different. It is not meant to replace. It is meant to remind. In a world of engineered abundance, venison represents restraint. It is red meat without excess. It is protein without compromise.